Okay, Aquarius, I'm sorry about that pause. I was saying that the medicine wheel reading is a 5 card reading. What it does is it looks at you from your center point and then in all points all around you, earth, air, fire, and water, which then breaks down into your physical, your mental, your emotional, and your spiritual. It is a very circumspect reading, which is why I like to use it. And it also is for teaching and it is for healing, which is what wooing nature is all about. It's about teaching, healing, and bringing your life into balance. And so these readings really are about letting you know where you are and then what you need to do in order to balance properly. So right in the center, we have the Holy Mountain. So during the month of January, you can anticipate that you will be doing a lot of high order thinking. And when I say high order thinking, I'm not just talking about critical thinking. I'm talking about putting your mind, raising the energy vibration past the mind into the spirit and allowing your crown chakra to be activated. Your crown chakra is of utmost importance, Aquarius, during the month of January. So lots of meditation, lots of prayer, lots of putting your mind on loftier things, putting yourself in a spiritual mindset, not just a material mindset. You will be balancing this. This will help you to balance also your mental and your emotional as well, because you'll be operating from a higher frequency or seeing things from a higher plane. So you want to get on top of the mountain. And if you're dealing with difficulties at home, at work, or wherever, you'll want to go higher up, see it from a higher perspective, not just what's happening right here on the ground, because seeing things from a higher perspective or allowing yourself to see things from a higher perspective is going to give you some new insight as to, what it is that you need to do moving forward. In the south position, which is where there is the place of learning in childhood, is the sacrifice. So you are learning about sacrifice. What is sacrifice? What are you sacrificing? And what is important to sacrifice and what's unimportant to sacrifice? Sacrifice is a part of life. There are things that you have to give up in order to get what it is that you're trying to get to. And sacrifice to me is sometimes sacrificing things that you want or you desire. Like when we think about the Lenten season that's coming up very soon, we think about sacrificing the things that we indulge in order to bring about spiritual change. That's what that's all about. Fasting and praying is another example of making sacrifices in order to receive or to make a transformation. And I do see transformation happening through this process. It's also associated, this card, with the number 44. 44, again, double fours, which lead to an 8. 8 is manifestation. So for you, what you're learning is what you have to let go of in order to receive or manifest what it is that you're desiring in your life. In the west position, you have the blade. The blade represents the knife or the sword. The swords represent the place of the mind. It is in the position of the west. So the west is where we look within and sometimes look back into our past experiences, also into our ancestry, and even into our past life experiences. But there are some truths here that have to be unearthed. There are some aspects of yourself that need to be sharpened, and sharpening, being able to sharpen those traits or those aspects of the self come from the experiences that you've had already or the experiences of those that have come before you. So when you are looking at kind of cutting away some of the fluff in your life or getting rid of some of those things, again, we talked about sacrificing and removing things. The blade is going to help you to do that, but that blade is your experience. So look at your experiences. Don't ignore them. Really pay attention to that and say, okay, what did I learn from this? And then from that, what did I learn about my own truth, or what did I learn about being able to speak and act from a point of integrity? That kind of thing is associated with the blade. In the north position, which is the place of our inner wisdom, or sometimes wisdom that comes from our elders or from people who we consider to be mentors, is the lower world. The lower world is the unseen world. It's the part that that isn't evident to us. It's also not the place of where we're ascending, but it's the place that we're coming from energetically as a whole. The lower world holds shadows, it holds secrets, it holds things in the subconscious. It also houses those aspects of the self that have to be, that either have to evolve or have to change or have to raise up. It doesn't, the lower and the upper doesn't mean good or bad. I don't like to put those kinds of judgments on it, but there's just things that exist beneath the surface, so to speak. And so there is some wisdom or some knowledge that is coming through the lower world, or through your exploration of the lower world. So I say for you to explore your shadow side or shadow aspects of yourself. If you're dealing with other people, especially if there may be conflicts of some kind, look at how that person represents your shadow side, get in touch with that, and then raise that into the light is what that card is looking for. And then appropriately so, in the east, which is the open gateway. The open gateway is it's like a threshold into the future. It's like that stepping off point for you, and it's also where hopes and dreams and aspirations can live and can be activated and utilized. And that is the hunter. And I think that's goes right along with this, because the hunter has to go into this space in order to find what they're looking for. The hunter is a seer. And also the hunter knows how to get its prey. So whatever it is that you're searching for or that you're looking for in your life, you are being guided directly toward that. If you are seeking information, or you're seeking something within, then the hunter is where you will go. There's a hidden totem here, and I'm going to be pulling a totem for you, but I'm noticing the bear totem here. Bear is about healing. Bear is about integrity. And bear is also about going in and finding that hibernation aspect. Means that you have to go in and take a time out and explore your inner sanctum. And I think that hunter is associated here. When we talk about going in and hibernating, using January to hibernate, you're going in also to hunt down anything that may be lurking in your own underworld, and or in your own lower world, that needs to be brought to light, or that you need to get clarity about. All right, so in general, for your medicine wheel reading, I'm going to say that the healing is going to come through understanding what has to be released in order to receive what's coming in, learning about the lower world, understanding your truth, and then also bringing that to a higher level. I don't think it's any mistake that you have the holy mountain and the lower world together along the same plane, because in order for you to understand height, you have to understand depth. So depth and height here are being illuminated in that reading, okay, for you, as far as, what you need to do next. All right, and you all have the nightingale spirit. It says love is all around. So in addition to walking with the bear, you're also walking with the hummingbird. I'm sorry, the nightingale. I had that in another reading. The nightingale for the month of January. So what I would like for you to do is to look up the nightingale. Look up their habitat, their gestation period, what they eat, certain behavior patterns or behavior habits of the nightingale. And that information is going to be very helpful to you in learning how to maneuver through some of these lessons that we had talked about in your other readings. So when we're talking about navigating the lower world, the nightingale is going to be an important totem for you being able to know what you need to do and how you need to approach situations and people that may show up for you. And I will say this, when you are exploring the lower world, depending on your level of comfort with dealing with your own inner self, these things may come up in dreams. You may want to pay attention to your dreams, particularly if the dreams come in the form of nightmares, because if they come in the form of nightmares, then that represents fears that may need to be overcome and that kind of thing. But pay attention to your dreams, because your dreams tap into your subconscious, and they will help you understand that. But as you walk through your dream space, just know that the nightingale is going with you. So when you read up on the nightingale, I want you to pay attention to things that the nightingale does naturally in its natural habitat that can relate to how you are navigating this lower the lower world within yourself. All right, so that is the medicine wheel plus your animal totem. I am going to go right to the I Ching next. And I might have to... Oh, where's my I Ching? Oh, there it is. I thought I had lost it. All right, so I'm going right to the I Ching. The I Ching readings I really enjoy, and I'm going to be reading the I Ching cards. We have yarrow sticks, and we also have coin method for determining the I Ching passages, but these I'm going to use for the sake of time. I'm going to be using the cards today. So the I Ching is where I go to for very overall, if I want to get an overall perspective of life in general. It's a better divination method to me for that than it is for, say, your where you're trying to get more detail about a specific situation. I think the I Ching is really good for general readings, general advice, things to think about, overarching themes, that kind of thing. But a very thorough reading nonetheless. So you have card number 30. This card corresponds, number 30 corresponds to passage number 30, which I will read. And then I have also pulled a changing card for you. And that changing card is going to let us know which lines are changing lines or changes in the lines. And then those are the lines that I will read for you. And that gives us a few more specifics. But card 30 is about adhering or fire. When two forces mutually support one another, they achieve a greater effect than would be possible for each one acting alone. So this is about partnerships here. You are currently in the vicinity of a complicated power struggle. Understand that even you cannot be impartial. Accept the given nature of mutual dependence. That's interdependence. Open up to other forces and to relationships capable of bearing the strain. All of those involved live up to their individual challenges through mutual support. You should not question the importance of cooperation, even in relationships where there is less harmony. You can have a less harmonious relationship and it could still work for you. So that kind of goes back to sacrifice. You may be sacrificing friendship and friendliness to get the job done if need be. Many people have worked together that don't get along with each other, but they can produce the work well. So think about that in relationship to this. Adapt your ideas to the realities and use your energy to expand new horizons. Okay? All right, and then I chose this changing line, which I see a clear 8 there, manifestation, and then I also see these partnerships and these people under here making this 8 happen. So I think that that's visually significant to what the reading is saying. The changing lines here are lines... line 5 and line 6. So there's a change in line 5 and in line 6. So I will read line 5 and line 6 from passage 30. Just, tap in. If there's something that relates or that resonates, then, take it. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. One of these lines may pertain to you or both. So line 5 says, inner change is accompanied by psychological growing pains. Psychological, remember we talked about the subconscious and the lower world. Right back to here. All right, so you recognize the limited importance of desires and concerns and endeavor to find a new approach to life. And then in line 6, it says you must energetically fight the element of disturbance if you want to rid yourself of the bad. But don't be too extreme in your actions. Being too demanding on yourself or others is not advisable. So this is general information for you to think about. We're talking about having opposing forces and needing to be able to understand how those opposing forces are tying into you, your inner sanctum, your inner wealth, and also your inner health, and also the way that you're going to be able to manage your relationships, because mutual dependence is going to be very important. So you can't do this solo, Aquarius. It's not about a solo ride this go around. So you might as well, take this advice on how you're going to deal with the people or the partnerships that you're building around yourself. All right, so that is Medicine Wheel. We've got I Ching. We're going to go right into the wealth reading. And the wealth reading, I'm going to do two things. I'm reading from the Law of Attraction cards, which is an oracle deck that I like because it allows you to kind of rethink the way you think wealth and the way you think about your money. And then I'm going to follow up with three tarot cards to clarify where you are right now mentally in terms of your wealth and your financial health, and then what past influences are playing on your current mindset. And then I'll also get a third card, which is going to represent what you need to do moving forward. So we'll get to that in a minute. But first, the oracle card for wealth. It says, life is always working out for me. So Aquarius, it says, I like understanding that things are always evolving. And while there are many things that could be better where I am, it is not really a problem because where I am is constantly changing into something better. I like knowing that as I look for the best things around me where I am, those things become more prevalent in my experience. It is fun to know that things are always working out for me. And as I watch for the evidence of that, I see more evidence of that every day. So I want you to do this I like because it's just a reminder, like a self reminder that everything is working out, everything is okay where you are. And so even if you're not happy with your financial situation, or you want to be in a better financial situation, just remember that where you are is constantly evolving, and that nothing is going to remain the same. Nothing is going to remain the same. All right, so I am going to put this down for a second so I can go right to the tarot. I'm pulling one card about the present mindset, about money and finances for Aquarius. I'm pulling a second card about the past influences, or past influences that are past experiences that are influencing the current mindset. And then the last card I'm pulling is what to do moving forward, or how to think, or how to maneuver going forward. All right, so right in the middle, we have the Hermit in reverse, the Hermit in reverse. So right now, you really want to get away from whatever financial situation you're in, and you're ready to move on. There's been a hunker down phase for you. It could be some extreme being extremely frugal, or having to be extremely frugal may have been important. You may have had to pull back your finances or pull back on your expenditures. And so now your mindset is kind of pulled back away from the finances. What influenced this is something didn't quite come together. It could have been a heartbreak, could have been a breakup in a relationship, or it could have just been a disappointment of sorts that kind of put you in this position where you had to pull back. It could have been a loss of some sort. It could be a job loss, or it could be that, maybe you didn't get the raise you thought you were going to get, or it could have been something related to a relationship. But what you have to know is that that was a part of releasing something that needed to go, that may have gotten in the way of your finances later. So I feel like this is where you are right now. I kind of feel like maybe you may have started giving up a little bit on on the idea of getting back where you needed to get back to, but I think the main thing is to understand that that experience that you had is not permanent. Again, you're always evolving, you're always changing. So wherever you were and wherever you are right now, Aquarius, in relationship to your money, just know that it was this happened so that this could change, and this is going to change eventually for the better. And then in the third position, we have the Ace of Pentacles, which is the essence of being physically sound, physically sated, having what you need, having some of the things that you want, and being able to manage it effectively. That's the Ace of Cups. So I feel like moving forward, you are going to be shifting past the disappointment, or past beyond this thing that happened that kind of set you in this hermit mode or reverse hermit mode. I'm not seeing this reverse hermit as you were out and about and doing a whole lot of things. I really think that that the hermit experience happened, but you were so disappointed about the past that maybe you weren't able to quite assimilate the positives in it. So look at the positives that came out of a negative situation, and then know that that's going to push you forward. And again, I feel like this message that's coming in from the law of attraction cards is just to remember that this is an evolutionary process for you, and that evolution means that things are just not going to remain the way that they are. And I do see this as positive for your finances. I see a lot of coins, so it looks like there's some changes that are going to happen. But if you want to exact those changes, just use this message as your mantra throughout the month of January, and I think you'll do fine. All right, and then the last one is the love reading. I am taking my love readings from my favorite little heart deck called the Alphabet for Lovers. This is a Kabbalistic connection. These cards are associated with the Kabbalah. So for those of you who are studying Kabbalah or know Kabbalah, there'll be some Kabbalistic information that I'll share with you in relationship to your love reading. But for those of you who are not studying that, it's still a good oracle for love. And so what I like about this teaching is that it'll give you some general information about what this relationship that's depicted in this card is all about. It also gives you information if you're in a relationship. If you're already in a relationship, it gives you messages if you're single, a separate message if you're a single person looking for love. It also gives advice, and it also talks about personality traits, which I really like, because if people are trying to find an ideal mate, sometimes those what the information that comes through about those traits can help you look, or to help you tap into those traits within yourself if you feel like you need to. And then there's some general advice that's given in the end, and I'll get to the text in a minute. But I just wanted you to get a look at this card. There's somebody in one part of the relationship. This person looks like they may be still developing, still in development. Somebody else is helping them along, helping them get themselves together. That's what I see just in the image. But on the back of the card, in addition to some other information again about the Kabbalah and the Hebrew letters, it says control and submission. So if your relationship feels like there's some control or that there's some dominance and some submission in it, then this message is specifically for you. Now, if some of this doesn't apply to you, if you don't feel like you're in a domineering situation, then this doesn't apply to you. But you can continue to listen, because there may be some other things that jump out at you. For those of you who are not in committed relationships, this may be soulmate information. And please keep in mind that soulmates are not necessarily romantic relationships. All right, this card, number 25, is associated with Teth. It's the 9th letter, so 9 may be important to your 9. If 9s are significant to your relationship, then this may resonate with you more. It is also associated with Leo in the month of August. So some of you may be involved with a Leo, or a person where Leo is predominant in their chart, or it could be related to a relationship that was built in August, or people who were born in August. Its value is 9, and so nines are also important. It's associated with the fire element and with the Sephira, Chokmah, and Tiferet, which is wisdom and beauty, and it's related to the strength card. All right, it says that this is a colorful and interesting relationship. One partner is dominant and the other one is compliant. The connection is stormy, full of passion and fiery attraction. The dominant partner has a stronger commitment to the relationship. Despite the happy and stable bond, you may periodically get entangled in a cycle of constant struggles because of stubbornness, but the love and closeness are never harmed. An unexpected gesture of giving can clearly remind you how lucky you are to have your partner. The dominant partner always strives to be the center of attention, and it is hard to civilize his savage temper, or their savage temper, or her savage temper. For a better balance in the relationship, one person has to behave compassionately and kindly towards the weaker partner, overcome arrogance and pride, and give more of themselves. The weaker partner in the relationship is usually wiser and must learn to forget the hurts of the past, forgive the arrogant and dominant attitude, and focus on what's happening here and now. What drives the dominant partner is the pursuit of honor and power. So if you are in this dominant submissive relationship, just remember that the other party is really pursuing honor and power, and once he gets what he needs, he will be willing to, or she will be willing to, pay back generously. The generosity and concession in a relationship will open doors to good luck in other areas of life, and that generosity and concession reminds me of the sacrifice card from earlier in the reading. If you are single, you're attracted to an authoritative person, someone who always likes to be in the spotlight. Sometimes they seem arrogant, proud, and inaccessible. You may develop an uncontrollable urge to prove to this person that they have no advantage over you, but in this way you risk losing them. So don't try to prove anything in this relationship if you're in a relationship like that. If you really want the person, you will have to act wisely and not try to change them. Alternatively, if you have a tendency to be picky, which hinders you from finding a proper mate, you have to dig deep under the external pride of this person and find the goodness and gentleness that are hiding underneath. All right, in terms of personalities and partnerships, this indicates a person who is aware of their power, is proud, doesn't connect with just anyone, keeps their distance, and sometimes is perceived as arrogant, and has an amazing ability of observation. A colorful and fascinating person who seeks honor, glory, and adoration, likes to be in the spotlight and hogs the attention. They're strong and very stable, sexual and sensual, always seeking pleasure and enjoying good food. For some of you, this might be you. They are theatrical and a good actor and excellent in the aesthetic sense, and is attracted to beauty and charm. Sounds like a Libra or something. This gentle soul should never be offended. All right, and the advice says, if you're dealing with any relationships, it is recommended to accept the power advantage of the strong partner rather than fight it. The relationship will be more successful if the wild temperament is channeled into positive trajectories. Instead of fighting the savage beast inside, it needs to be tamed and used as a source of power. And I can't say enough about relationships and how relationships reflect back on who it is that we need to be. And so what this is saying to me is that when you look at this power struggle or this arrogance, is to remember where that comes from in that other person or in yourself, where your pride comes from in the partner or in yourself, and not trying to fight that, but just trying to know when to concede the fight and when to continue to fight or press forward. And that's both internally and externally. So that is your love reading for the month of January and your other readings for the month of January. If you want a personal reading, reach out to me. I'm at Kerri, Kerri, at wooingnature.life. As always, I hope you have a great January and you're having a wonderful life.